This is the Okayest Hunter podcast. Never pass on shooter bucks, because that's just meat in the freezer. It's your tag, you hunt how you want. This is Okayest Hunter.
Hey, what up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Okayest Hunter podcast, coming at you from Oconomowoc, Wisconsin, out of the Okayest Hunter podcast studio, brought to you by Half Rack. Head over to half-rack.com and check out all their swag. They just dropped their new cooler, the Meat Lug. This thing is freaking huge. So if you can see it on the screen, if you're watching, it's very large. Stay tuned for some fun content with that this weekend. I'm going to bring it to Foam Fest with me so people can see it. It's one of the cool things about doing what I would call experiential marketing, like grassroots stuff, going to an event where you're going to be able to try out the Latitude saddle and carbon speed sticks that we got here. You're going to be able to see the Half Rack products. They're cooler. We're giving away a lot of stuff. We're giving away, I did the math, which I guess you can't trust me doing math, but we're giving away like $4,500 worth of product. I shouldn't say giving away. It's like a raffle. It's a raffle. We are giving away one free Bear Archery legit bow. It's an RTH, which stands for Ready to Hunt. And then everything else is raffled off. Everyone gets a raffle ticket with their entry fee, and you're getting breakfast, lunch, dinner, plus one free drink voucher. So we're trying our best to take care of everybody that's coming. We're also going to win, lots of stuff. So lots of Spartan Forge memberships. Go Wild sent some products over. A really, really nice Garmin watch. A really cool recurve bow. What else am I missing here? Half Rack has a ton of stuff they're giving away per usual. All these hunter hangers that you see in our studio, where you hang up like our buck grunt tubes and our headphones and everything else. I got a bunch in my garage too. So nonetheless, lots of stuff there, and you can try stuff out. I feel like I'm just talking in circles. Greg is busy. Derek is busy. They decided to leave me hanging tonight like a bunch of a-holes. No, I'm just kidding. I love those guys. But we do have a guest, so don't worry. It won't be me the whole time rambling on by myself, because that would be really, really terrible. I wouldn't wish that upon anybody. Other updates, I'm trying to think. Foam Fest is the big one, guys. Like, that is this weekend on Saturday at Horicon Marsh Bowmen, or Horicon Marsh Archers. Let's see. Get there at 9 o'clock, eat some donuts, drink some coffee, shoot the breeze, go shoot the course. It's beautiful. It's sprayed for mosquitoes. Come back, hang out. There's lots of kid activities, balloon popping, target practice, antler shed hunt for kids with redeemable prizes of candy. What else? Sensory bins, if we can get that part figured out, some coloring books, and just, I think there's some playgrounds there. They might be a little old, but they're there and they're nice, and lots of just room to run around for kids in this open space. They got a clubhouse inside, so plenty to do. Bring your friends, family, whoever you want. I'm trying to think, am I remembering, forgetting anything? I probably am. So head over to okayesthunter.com. You go to the events page. If you click on that, it'll take you to Eventbrite. If you want to register, it's $40, and you'll see more about like the itinerary or the agenda or whatever you want to call it. You'll see kind of what we got going on there. So should be a ton of fun. That being said, we do have a guest. We've wasted enough time. It's 6:22. I'm running late today. That is my fault. So without further shenanigans, let's bring you into the show here. Katelyn Armstrong, how's it going? How you doing tonight?
Awesome. How about yourself?
Oh, just dandy. One thing after the next, just rolling with the punches over here.
Sounds pretty okay to me.
Yeah, so thanks. That's the name of the game over here. I just poured up a nice Drop Time Spirits bourbon. We ran out of bourbon, so I had to go reach into the case and pull out a new bottle here, and it's delicious. What are you drinking? I saw you pour something before.
Yeah, I'm drinking a mule.
Oh, nice. That's a pretty good idea. That's a good summer drink.
I'm a fan.
Cool.
I bought these cups specifically because they're one of my favorite drinks. So, and it's just not the same if you drink it at anything else.
No, you have to have the copper mug. We have copper mugs from like our wedding, and they're like silver now or whatever the hell color like it turns to after the copper wears off, which is the thing,
Oh.
I guess. So I'm not cool anymore. But anyway, you're out of Ohio. You're an hour ahead. I at some point ran into your content like most people. I think probably on TikTok, maybe, and then Instagram, and correspond a little bit. And you decided to take us up on our invite and jump on the podcast. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Of course. Love
Um,
hunting out. So,
yeah. So tell me about your journey into hunting. Is it something you've always done? Is it something you're picking up on your own? Like, what's your preferred? Is it turkey? Is it whitetail? What gets you going out in the woods?
I'm sorry, can you say that again? It like froze on my screen and I didn't hear your question at
Wait,
all.
that's fine. Yeah. How did you get into hunting? Have you been doing it like your whole life? Is it newer to you? And what do you love to chase the most?
So started hunting when I was a kid. Shot my first deer at 12 in New Hampshire because that's where I grew up. I live in Ohio now. And then my dad always brought me to Ohio when I was a teenager. After I killed a couple deer in New Hampshire, we would go hunt in Ohio and do fun like out of state hunts because hunting here is just way better than the Northeast. And I fell in love with it and taught myself how to bow hunt a couple years ago because I only grew up gun hunting, and picked up bow hunting, saddle hunting, and filming all in the same year. And then
what year was that?
Huh?
What year is that you picked all that up?
3 years ago. COVID.
No doubt. That's crazy.
Yeah. So I taught myself how to shoot a bow and bought a saddle and started filming all the year of COVID because I lost all my jobs. And I think there was still like, I don't know, there wasn't like hunting season wasn't still in session, but it was like, I love scouting. Like as soon as season ends, I love to scout. So I was driving to go scout and I just pulled my phone up and made a joke. And I was just like, it's the Corona apocalypse. Hi guys, I'm a YouTuber now. And if you scroll all the way to the bottom of my channel, it's still there. It's still on YouTube. And I was totally joking, but here we are 3 years later, still doing it. So, and loving it. And then to last year, well, I suppose it's been 2 years now. Last year was my first time hunting turkeys, and I basically was teaching myself. I didn't really have anybody helping until the end. So that was a struggle. I think I made all the mistakes you could possibly make. And then this year I got to go again and I learned a lot. And yeah, basically that's that. I would love to get more into turkey hunting. But whitetails are my passion.
That's pretty cool that you're so let's go back to like COVID. You just like, was it just, you said you lost your job or did you quit? What happened there that like sparked what sparked, oh, I'm going to go get a bow. I'm going to teach myself how to I want to hear about why bow hunting. I know you were gun hunting first. I want to hear how you just arrived at saddle first. And then the filming part, like that is a lot to add. Any one of those things is enough in and of itself.
Yeah, well, I like to do things the hard way, I guess. Always have. So, like if learning how to shoot a bow by yourself wasn't hard enough, I was like, oh, I'll buy a camera. Oh, let's do it out of a saddle. Let's do it all on public land. I don't even know how to hunt. Let's just do it all. I mean, I've been hunting since I was a kid. Let me rephrase. I've been hunting since I was a kid, but it was very much like my dad only had one day off a week. So it was very much like, here's your tree, you know where to shoot a deer. And that was kind of, other than that, it was like, oh, look, there are the deer tracks. Like I knew how to find deer sign, but I didn't understand like why we were setting up in that tree. So I essentially had to teach myself how to hunt as well, even though I had been hunting my whole life, like strategy and stuff I just didn't know. And so, yeah, I lost both my jobs during COVID, and, hunting and being in the woods, that's qualifies as social distancing. So I made a joke and made a YouTube video about scouting. And I was like, that was really fun. And I edited it and it came out halfway decent for a first video ever made. Made another video about putting out trail cameras because it was still COVID. And that one actually got halfway decent views for me not having any subscribers. And I was like, okay. And then I wanted to get a bow because I'd actually been using a crossbow for the last 2 years
Oh, what kind of
because,
crossbow did you have?
oh, it was a Yukon Horton SL, and it's
Okay.
like the older. I don't think I've ever seen a crossbow older than that one.
So it
So,
wasn't like a Raven or something.
oh no, this crossbow was not ethical to shoot past 35 yards.
Okay.
It was older than crap. And it had like the pin on it, and actually the pin broke, and I couldn't buy a new one because they don't make them anymore. So I had to buy like fluorescent glow in the dark paint and like paint the tip of it. I killed a lot of deer with that crossbow. I'm not gonna lie, I did.
Crazy the hand-me-down things that we have, like that we
Yeah,
get as hunters. Yeah, that's
yeah,
kind of like
absolutely. I bought that bow for like, I think I paid like $80 for my cousin, and it was my grandfather's bow. So crossbow. So I mean, I thought that was pretty cool. But because I had gun hunted my entire life, I thought that
that's a
picking
good
up a
transition, gun to
crossbow,
crossbow. Like,
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
'cause they're very similar. Like you're not, yeah.
Yeah, and because I was teaching myself, like I didn't know to the difference. I mean, there's massive difference between using a bullet and an arrow, and even if the arrow is coming out of a crossbow, it's still different than a gun. So I used that for 2 years and killed a couple deer, and then COVID hit, and I mean, even though I lost my job, um, I decided to buy a bow, and I just went to go like shoot him at the shop. I was like, no, I probably shouldn't spend the money. And then I shot it a couple times, and I have a picture of me like wearing a COVID mask, holding the bow. Like, I think I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to get it. And, yeah, I ended up taking it home, and it gave me something to do when I didn't have a job. So I was just able to focus on shooting it all the time. And then with filming and shooting my bow, it was really hard to film out of a tree stand. That was a nightmare. So, well, at least for me, it was
A
because,
nightmare for a lot of us. There's a lot of like groups on Facebook, like self-film hunters, and it's
yeah,
there's a lot of things to consider. Like, I don't know.
oh,
I hate self-filming. I won't do it.
yeah, I absolutely hated it. And then, so I started watching, like, I started searching on YouTube, like, how to self film on public land, bow hunting, those keywords. And um, all the popular people like the hunting public and stuff started popping up, and I was watching a lot of their videos, and I'm like, saddle, I should probably give that a go.
That's great.
So
Saddle hunting is yeah, like I so the OK is Hunter brand, like we're basically just Polacks. Like we make something that should be straightforward and easy, and we make it as difficult as humanly possible.
yeah,
So when I got into the saddle hunting for the first time, I went with a friend, Anthony Heller, who runs the Deer Vein podcast. He had two of them. I went on a hunt with him, and he helped me like figure it out and get into the tree. So he was in the same tree with me. He was kind of filming me, and I thought it was fine, but it was not it was a single piece saddle, and it felt like I just kept needing to like pull it down past my butt. And I was like, man, I can't, this is, and it wouldn't, because it didn't do that. I was like, I needed it to be lower, and it was frustrating. And I was like, it was fine. Like I could handle it, but it wasn't ideal. But I've
yeah,
also never really loved hunting out of a tree stand because I don't know why. Just sitting, I just feel so locked in. Like it's not my jam. So I switched to a latitude method to two-piece saddle, and that gives you all of the adjustability that I never had with the single piece, and I love it. I love it a lot. Like, but when I first got it, I remember thinking like, I didn't know what a bridge was. I didn't know what a tether was. I didn't understand like hip pinch and all this stuff that people talk about. And I had a buddy, Clay Thurman, reach out to me recently saying, "All right, I got one. Like, I think I'm doing it wrong," which is shocking for him because he's like a killer. Like he knows what he's doing with stuff. And I thought he was messing with me. And he's like, "Eric, you need to explain this to me." I was like, "You're asking the wrong dude, man." He's like, no, give me your breakdown on it. And I did. And I think he said I had some sort of like unconscious like intellect or something. It was basically like a backhanded compliment, but in a really friendly way. It wasn't bad. And I was like, oh, maybe I do know what I'm talking about sometimes. Like it was interesting to know that I actually could articulate how to use this thing. Um, but if you haven't ever used one before, if you don't have someone to help you through that stuff or a lot of good YouTube videos, it could be like, I don't know how much YouTube you had if you had a close friend. But it'd be a really hard purchase without trying one first. That's why I would like trade shows. I think trade shows are good, so you can try one. We're doing our Foam Fest event. We're gonna have those things there so people can try them. Usually that's like I can do this. That was comfortable. I can shoot weak side, strong side. This is all good to go. Like, I get it now.
Oh yeah, I've worked a couple conventions. In fact, that's what I did all summer is work conventions and for like different companies. And when it comes to trying out a saddle, you get all these people walking past you that are like non-believers, and they're like, "That looks dumb," or "Oh, that wouldn't be comfortable for me," or "I'm too old," or "I'm too big," or "I'm not athletic enough." And then you're like, "Okay, well, you want to give it a go? Like maybe you're right, but there's no harm in trying it here." And you wouldn't believe like the turnover rate of how many people actually we get to like convert into buying a saddle right there and then just from trying it and given the instructions, because you're right, it is extremely hard to learn how to use it the first time you pull it out of the package and put it on and you don't understand all the little tiny adjustments you can make. Like I feel like I've helped people who've never gotten to in a saddle so much learn how to get comfortable in one. At this point, like I can take one look at how somebody is wearing their saddle and I'm like, "Oh, it's pinching you here, move it there." And they're like, "How can you tell?" And I'm like, "Well, I've just been in one long enough to know. I can see it. I can see where you're getting tension or hip pinch." And I think a lot of people, maybe they're not purchasing the right saddles for them, or I don't know. When I bought my first saddle, I went with a super budget saddle and
Mhm.
I would have stubbornly hunted out of it for the rest of the season. Thank goodness I did not. But it matters what saddle you buy. I have to say that it does
Yeah.
matter comfort wise. Saddle hunting is awesome, but if you do go with the most budget one out on there on the market, like you're gonna get a budget product and budget comfort. So
Yeah, that makes sense, and I don't like, I think too, like, I'm 37 years old, so, like, doing an all-day sit out of a saddle a couple days in a row, I don't care how much you adjust for hip hinge. If you sit in one of those things for 8, 9 hours or whatever it ends up being, it's gonna have an impact on you, just like sitting in a tree stand is going to have an impact on you on your back or something, unless you find a tree with a nice knot for a lumbar support, like, you're gonna have some general discomfort. What I appreciate about those is that, like, you can because you're uncomfortable. Like if I ride in a car for 8 hours, I'm uncomfortable.
yeah.
It's not, it doesn't matter what you do. If you do something that long, you're sedentary, it's just gonna take a toll on you. But you can stand, you can sit, you can stretch. I crack my back in mine. That's always a great feature.
Oh, I do too. I lean
Mhm.
back in mine bad.
Yeah, it's just you get your comfortable position, but like you can confidently shoot. Like when I shot oh gosh, did I get yeah, so I got my first the 2020 buck I got out of a tree stand and the 2022 buck I got out of a saddle. And the 2022 buck out of the saddle felt real good. Like that felt great. My tree stand shot was questionable, but the tree was also questionable. So like, who knows? Um, yeah, that's very. That one of the users or the listeners just said she got ambition. That's huge no matter what you're doing to tackle all that stuff. Um, and how's it been going? Like, so 3 years, you've killed some deer with that old janky crossbow, but like, where are you at now? How does it feel now?
um, like in regards to all like just all
Yeah,
of it.
how have you like yeah, have you gotten more comfortable with all that stuff? Like, obviously, your content game is crushing it, so filming must be going decent. You're putting on, like, a digital or a virtual saddle series clinic of how to hunt saddles. I've seen that. Like, yeah, your confidence is up there, and you got a a compound bow, so how do you feel now?
I would say I'm really, really comfortable in a saddle. It's still only this would be my fourth year going into shooting with the compound. So I would say I'm still relatively new with hunting from with the compound and still relatively new with filming, obviously. Um, I, there's not a shortage in learning. I don't think no matter how long you do it, even though I've been doing it for 4 years, it took me, or this is my fourth. So even though I've been doing it for 3 years, it took me 3 years to shoot a buck on film. So I mean, the first year I wasn't successful shooting anything on film because I saw the buck coming in, ditched the camera and shot the buck with my bow. So it was still a success because it was my first year. And second year, I really wanted to get a deer on film. And I came to the realization that it wasn't going to happen with a buck because I was always going to ditch the camera. So I had to learn to get over those nerves. And I put a lot of time and effort into drawing back on does and getting them in my camera, and just trying to get a doe kill on film. And because I put all my time and effort into that in the 2021 season, I didn't kill a buck because there was a couple of mistakes I had made throughout the season that also caused me not to kill a buck. But I did put a lot of time and effort into trying to kill a doe on film. And I told myself that if I completed that, I could get over my nerves so that I could continue to self film, because I honestly think that self filming makes you a better hunter. Um, just because you have to shoot the deer twice, once with your camera and your bow, and you have to shoot the deer twice at the same time. And if anybody's ever attempted self filming, like, you really got to love it because you're also going to hate it at the same time. But as far as like how I feel about it now, I still love it, and I have a love-hate relationship with it. It definitely takes away from the like, oh, I'm just going out into the woods to hunt to get away from life. Like, hunting isn't necessarily the escape for me anymore, but I love it so much it doesn't matter. Like, I want that to be like my world. So it's work, it's play, it's all mixed into one. So, but yeah, I'm not gonna quit anytime soon for sure. I hope that I'm just gonna get better and better with my content every year. And I know that there's gonna be a lot of more failures involved than successes, but hopefully the successes, are worth it and outweigh all the struggle.
Yeah, I mean, failure is our best teacher, and that's where you have some fun too. And you get that's the best lessons learned are from mistakes. Self filming is a pain in the ass.
Oh
Like
yeah, it is.
camera, like GoPros are supposed to be easy to work, but like the number of times I thought it was recording, it wasn't, is like most of them. I just
Oh yeah, the amount of times where you think you press record and don't.
yeah, I'm like, what? I thought I had this huge buck. What the like?
I'll
Oh
go
my
back and
god!
watch the
I'm like,
footage, and
yeah,
it's so frustrating because you're like, I saw the most awesome deer tonight, had the coolest interaction. You go back and watch it, and you're like, where is it?
yeah, yeah. It's not super. Yeah, and then like you drop stuff. Like the one time, this is so silly. I didn't even consider it. Like I was like, oh, I'm gonna put my GoPro at the bottom of the tree and get a time lapse or like whatever of me climbing the tree and pulling my all the stuff. And then I didn't stop to consider like, oh, well now my GoPro's stuck down there.
Oh, attach your GoPro to your bow.
Yeah, but I just was like, I wanted that view, and I could have like had a string on that to drag it, something, and I just didn't. It didn't occur. I'm like, I'm not going back down to get it. This is stupid. I just
Yeah.
didn't care. And then the battery had died, and so then the other thing with those damn things. And I talk about GoPros because I think that's probably short of your cell phone the easiest entry point to just slap a GoPro above your head or whatever, and that's probably like a good way to just ease into it.
Yeah.
They're affordable, they're versatile, they're not going to break super easy. You can get them wet, but battery life on those things, I don't care what version you buy, they suck. So I learned from some like videographers that I work with, they just plug in like an external battery, like
Yeah,
one of
I
those
need to
charging
purchase some of those
packs.
for this year.
Yeah, and you just throw that in the charging port, and you get like significantly more life out of the GoPro. That's a fun hack. He's got to figure out a good way to mount it or whatever, but I know Greg on our team and Derek, they both do some self filming stuff. I think Greg's got like a camera arm that he sets up, and he's got like a really decent like what I call like a handy cam or something like that. So not fancy DSLR, but it can really zoom in really well. It can capture a wide frame, good quality footage. So like, what kind of cameras are you running when you're self filming now compared to when you started? And when you talk about like upping your content goals, like what are you trying to improve in your arsenal?
Currently, I'm looking for a different mainframe camera to use. Haven't made a decision on that yet, just because they're definitely more expensive, and I don't want to, you know, purchase one and hate it. Like I've done twice in the past already. So I'm trying to figure out which one I should get, and it needs to be easy to use, because if it's not, I am gonna ditch it and just film with my cell phone. So currently I'm filming with two cell phones, two GoPros, and a handy cam. And I'm using like a DSLR or my cell phones for like B-roll footage.
Mhm.
Um, the DSLR is more for like pictures and stuff, but honestly, the new cell phone I just purchased the new Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra for this year's hunting season. And I mean, I zoomed in on the moon the other night with my phone and I could see all the craters. So, I mean, they take just as good photos and videos as like some DSLRs do nowadays, or at least can keep up competitively for the content I'm trying to push out. So, I'm not really sure what I'm going to use for a mainframe camera yet, but last year, what worked really well for me is I decided to keep my handy cam in my pocket and I would just use that for zooming in and out, like capturing, like bobcat kittens playing in the distance and deer coming in and feeding that were anything more than like 30 yards. I used my handy cam to film. And honestly, like I got the kill shot with my cell phone and that was on complete accident because my handy cam battery died. But yeah, cell phones actually work really good for the kill shot because I mean, what are you going to shoot with a bow? Not more than 30, 35 yards. Like your cell phone can get 30, 35 yards incredibly clear. So
Yeah.
especially now they have like pro video mode on them and everything. You can change the exposure, and my cell phone gets dark light really good. Like the last 10 minutes of daylight that you're allowed to shoot, it's the only thing that picks up where my GoPro footage is completely black. The last 20 minutes of daylight are completely useless for GoPro and Handycam. So I really just rely on my cell phone heavily for that last, few minutes. But
Yeah, cell phone is good. I got I don't know what, some version of the iPhone, whatever, a new like 14 or something, and it's like, yeah, it's nice to have for, especially for B-roll stuff. You throw in a cinematic mode or whatever you want to call it, pro, blah blah blah, and it does a pretty. I mean, most people are consuming this content on their phone anyway, so like the need for a resolution be much bigger than 1080 by 1920 or whatever the phone screen size is. Like you don't. It's it's pretty damn good, and a lot of the stuff that people are putting out on social, the expectation is that's not super polished, and then it
yeah,
makes your workflow super easy. Like a lot of stuff you see from most of the center, I do in CapCut on my phone.
yeah,
Like it's not super complicated. That being said, I also use other tools like Adobe Premiere Pro and Descript and so forth. Like we do run DSLRs and heavier camera equipment, and we got video people now that are like following us along. I tell you though, when those guys pump out content like that they've filmed for us, it does hit different. Like I'm like,
I'm
oh man.
sure.
But I also don't know how to run that camera to its full capacity like these guys do. And I'm also not trying to sit down and edit all that stuff. So like for us
Yeah,
to bring those guys on, it was, I don't know if you've watched any of the OKS Hunter show on YouTube or Carbon TV, but like Jace Martinetto with Martinetto Media, he did all of that. And then this last turkey season, we brought Keegan out with us, and he caught some really great footage of these turkeys coming in. I haven't seen the full cut on that stuff yet because it's still got to get chopped. I'm like, well, who cares, guys? We're not going to post it till spring turkey season. So like, sit on it for all I care. It's fine. We'll see. It'll like no one's going to care about a turkey video now. We're like obsessing about deer.
yeah,
But just the small bits he sent through is just like teasers. I was like, damn, that looks good. Like that's really cool that that's what you capture. But you'd have to invest so much money. Like if you like,
mm,
I forget what Keegan's handle is, like wildlife photography or something. Um, he's he was just on Antler Featherco's podcast. I think he was also on our one of the podcasts on our network, Upduck. That'll be dropping soon. But if you look at his arsenal of like camera equipment, it's disgusting how much money that must have cost. It's his career. Like it's all he does.
oh
Then he
yeah.
travels to Alaska. He does all this stuff. Like I am not going to do that. I don't think maybe you're going to like unless you're going to go deep in it. Like
I'll
sometimes
pay a cameraman. It'll probably be cheaper than buying the camera and
right,
doing it
right.
myself. Like I'll find someone at that point.
Sometimes good enough is good enough. Like there is that threshold. So if I'm going to do it, good enough is good enough. Like I'm not going to be that, and I recognize that. So then if you can bring them in to help you with that stuff here and there, like not everything is going to be that because that would
No.
be unaffordable. But I really like what you're doing because I'm a big, everyone that listens to the show knows that I'm a big fan of Gary Vaynerchuk. And at some point in the past, he talked about document over or versus creating. Creating content is like going out and getting content and being creative in the moment or strategically planning around what creative is going to be. Documenting is just following along your process. You're just going to turn the camera on and document what you're doing. And I think you've done a good job of documenting and creating, but it seems like you've documented this journey from 2020 to now. And some of the comments in here, Robert has just commented, this girl's been killing it on her platforms. Like, um, I think that documentation style of like vlogger, I can't pull that off. I just can't. I just don't know how to talk to a camera on my own. Like it's so awkward.
Not comfortable.
Like, I'm already a pretty nerdy dad guy now. Like I'm past any stage where I could have ever been considered cool. So like I'm not even gonna try. Like I don't know what the hell I would talk about. Uh, so, so like yeah. So
And
having someone else film
it's
it's nice.
edited as well. Like it is edited. So I mean, watching yourself. I mean, because I do everything myself, I have to listen to myself while I'm editing, say things over and over and over and cut it and hear myself again and go back through and hear myself again. And it's a really torturesome process. And a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, you're so good at talking to the camera. And it's like, yeah, maybe when no one's watching.
Yeah, if you didn't see all the like.
Yeah, or if you didn't see all the ums and oh that was stupid or all the weird faces I make. Like I edit all that stuff out, you guys. Like I'm actually not that great in front of the camera. Like,
You should do a blooper reel. You should do like this is what it actually looks like. I did one of
I,
those
I
recently.
started.
Yeah. Did you
Go ahead.
post it already? And maybe I just haven't seen it yet.
Oh, I started posting like blooper reels on TikTok just to see if they were going to get any views or people were going to like them. And a lot of people started commenting like, "Wow, thanks for like being realistic. This is why I follow you. You're showing that like everything's not perfect, and that was hilarious. Keep posting." So
Like the one where you're on construction equipment, you're like, I think they saw me.
yeah.
Great.
Well, that one I was just being retarded. I was just trying to do like a little funny video, and then like it was actually for a completely separate TikTok video. And then because people saw me, I couldn't redo it. And so then I just had to use the content I had. I'm like, well, I guess I'll just make fun of myself as per usual. Like
Yeah, and self-deprecating humor is my favorite type of humor. It's really fun. But it's really funny with us, we'll like the camera gets rolling and the comment I've heard so far is like, oh my God, you literally can't make this stuff up. Like the camera should just be on all the time. You guys are idiots. You're not pretending to be. You actually are idiots. And like it's all magic. It's all great because there's no dull moment with you dummies. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. So it's kind of it's funny. We got I don't know. I guess we got nominated for best comedic moment on Carbon TV. There's all of these categories: most cinematic, best educational, best conservation, best episode, best trophy, best hunt, all this stuff. And it was like, no, we got best comedic. And I was like, that's fitting.
Hey, listen, that's something. Comedy will get you somewhere.
It
makes you likable, that's for sure.
I suppose, yeah, relatable. Because usually people see themselves in like the things that we put out, and they're like, "Oh, that happened to me." Like we have the sticker, "Don't forget your release," and that's like, yeah, I did a post recently. I was like, well, if you haven't forgotten your release, like, good for you. Go get a cookie, I guess, because a lot of us have. Like, there's so many people that comment on the ad that we have running. They're like, oh, "I've never forgotten mine in 20 years." I'm like, cool.
Yeah,
go
good
get a cookie.
You
Like,
want that
do you want like a freaking award?
I want that sticker, "Don't forget your release," but can you make me one that says "Don't drop your release"?
Yeah, that's a good one too. I throw it up on the screen here, but like, yeah, don't drop your release. That'd be another good one. Don't drop your snack. I'm working on a shirt design right now that I'm really excited to put out, but it's taking me longer than I anticipated because design is not my jam these days as it used to be. So it just takes me longer, but I'm excited for it. We do have we do have a live phone number. If anyone wants to call in and share some of their like, I don't know, what we call okayest moments or what have you, feel free. But out of all of the, you've shared a couple kind of, but like, do you have anything that stands out as like the okayest moment where you're like, oh, that takes the cake?
By okay, are you asking people to like call and say, or are you asking me?
I'm asking both.
Okay.
Since no one's called in just yet, but like if you have one that's taken the cake, I would love to hear what you've done that you think is like should be nominated for most okayest moment.
Okay, can you define like okayest moment?
I don't know, like embarrassing or like big aha, huge mistake, something that like was terribly wrong in the moment that you can look back and laugh at. Like you can
Okay.
laugh at it now, but in the moment you're like, or maybe you laughed at yourself. I don't know. Maybe someone caught you pooping. I don't know.
Oh, well, when I was turkey hunting this year, my friend told me to mention this, actually. So it's pinned at the top of my TikTok, but the whole reason I didn't even get a turkey this year is because I didn't see it. But my cameraman caught the whole thing on film because he's sitting right behind me, and you literally see the turkey walk right in front of the barrel of my gun and then duck down. And like, we didn't even see that until we went back and watched the footage, and he was like, "Are you serious?"
So what
That
happened? Like, well, how didn't you see? Like, how close was it?
um I think it was like 25 yards, but what happened was is like we were up on a hill and it was like downsloped, and then we had our decoy right here, and then it just like dropped down. So we saw the turkey coming in from like 100 yards. I was watching her turkey run in like the entire way, but then when he got really, really close to that drop down, he disappeared, and then you only saw his head pop up and down here and there. So I'm looking and I'm looking, and you're crouched down, and you can't move at all, way less with turkey hunting than you can with deer hunting. And that's something that I had to learn the hard way a lot. So I was super nervous to like move and look around, and I'm looking back and forth, and he must have popped his head up and looked right when my eyes just must have been looking somewhere else right when he did that, because he wasn't up and down for very long, but he was definitely there long enough for me to pull the trigger if I had seen him. So that was that
That's a
was
that's a
that
fail.
was pretty up there for embarrassing. I still get chewed out about that.
Oh my God. Well, Rendell Eric shared one where he drank a bottle of his own piss on accident because he thought it was Mountain Dew. So, like,
Oh Lord.
I don't know which one's like missing your target, not
I think
even
I'd
seeing your
rather
target. Like, there's a limitless amount of mistakes people make in the woods. As long as you don't end up on like the DNR like injury report, I think it's fine.
Right.
Because there's enough of those things out there. But yeah, that's funny. On the fitness side, though, I wanted to switch gears on that a little bit because you're like you're getting after it. You're doing trail like perceivably. I don't know. Um, you're doing a lot of like runs and on trail runs and so forth. Like, how's that been going for you?
It was going good. I just got back from vacation, so I got
You're
to
off
get
the
the ball
wagon.
back rolling out on that. But working out is like an up and down thing. Like you get really good at it, and then you might drop off the ball for a week or two, and then you get really back good on it again. But I definitely feel my best when I'm working out, and I my motivation is all for hunting. Going up and down the trees with all your camera gear and climbing up and down, running and gunning on public land, going a mile and a half, 2 miles deep into the woods by myself, like all that kind of stuff is really grueling. And, um, I want to be able to keep up with the guys
Kick
keep
their
up
ass.
with,
You don't keep up with them. Just
I
fucking
mean,
pass them up.
know, I
Make
want to
them
be
keep
able
up
to
with
do it
you.
myself, like I have a pride issue and I want to be able to do it myself, I guess. And then, I also have this dream of going elk hunting with my bow and backpacking, and doing it again the hardest way possible. And I know that if I do get the opportunity to go on an elk hunt backpacking with my bow, there's a lot of miles walked in a day, 10, 15, 20 miles. I've watched a lot of YouTube videos on it, and I want to be ready when I get that call. And I know that when people plan elk hunts, they'll start kind of training their body like a year ahead of time. And it's not really going to work if I get a phone call, because now I am working with companies. That is a possibility. I might get a phone call like, hey, you want to go elk hunting with us? And I want to be like, oh, shoot, I should have started preparing for this 8 months ago. So, I mean, I'm still nowhere near there yet, but I want to be when the time comes. And I just feel better when I work out. And it definitely comes in handy when you're, hunting these giant ravines, and you're up on these giant oak ridges, and, you're slipping, walking up and down. And it's just nice to be able to go up there and not be completely out of breath when you get to the top. So that's a plus.
Yeah, yeah. Is it some? I got 3 kids. They're all turning. All their birthdays are September, so go figure. They are turning 2, 4, and 6. And like, there was a point where I was starting to get winded. Just like I would carry a kid upstairs to bed. I'm like, man. Like last winter, I was like, man, I'm really out of shape. Like I don't look that out of shape, but I was. I was like cardiovascularly, like I'm not in good shape. So in April, I started running to prep for this run at the end of the month called the Crazy Legs Classic in Madison, where you run into Camp Randall Stadium where the Badgers play, and it's an 8K, so 5 miles or whatever it is,
Mhm.
5 point some odd miles, and there's a grueling hill. It's not okay. It's a terrible hill.
It's
And
not okay.
and I was like, I'll prep for that. But then I just never stopped since that run until like 2 weeks ago. I stopped running. Things got a little crazy, chaotic, busy, whatever, and I just kind of fell off the map. I did a trail run, a nighttime trail run at a state park, and then I did that, and then I hadn't ran since. So I ran. I love running in like extreme conditions. Like if I can run in, well, mostly heat. The hottest day. If there was like a heat warning, I'm probably gonna run. Like I just think that it's awesome because I'll sweat the most. It'll be terrible, and then at some point on like a really nice, pleasant day, I'll just be easy.
Do you
And
get
so I
like a
ran.
high?
Yeah. What's that? Do
Do
I?
you get
I have I think I did a 10-mile run for the first time ever. Just ran. I just wanted to do it. I want to see if I could do a 10. I was gonna try and do like a half marathon, and
Mhm.
I'm not shitting you. Like the 9 to 10 mile mark, the whole thing was doable until I got to past 9 miles, and between the 10, I was like, "Whoa." I hit like I felt like an actual wall. Like I was like, my legs are killing I'm out of breath. Like I needed to walk. I didn't think I could do it. I was like, this is stupid. I've come this far. I can freaking do it. I did it, but it was bad. And my legs were pretty sore. And then I ran 5 miles a couple days later. Now you try to just do 3 when I can. The thing with running is it's fucking boring and it takes a lot of time.
Yeah, I cannot do it if it's on pavement. I can't do it if it's on like anything paved is boring. Sidewalks, roads, whatever, can't do it. The only way I can run more than 1 mile is mountain bike trails. They're fun, they're slightly dangerous. You have to pay super attention to where you're putting your feet, or you'll
Mhm.
just completely like bottom out. But that's the only way I can run and have it be mentally stimulating.
Yeah, trail runs are hard because there's mosquitoes. So like, yeah,
Well,
I got chased by like a horsefly once, and then I was like running really fast, which messed with my breathing for a couple miles. I was like, stupid horsefly.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't. It is good to know that if I'm gonna drag a deer out, at least I know my lungs aren't gonna like explode because I've felt that way before when I knew I was out of shape. And I'm like, man, if I could just make it a deer season with continuing to be somewhat healthful. And we just had a good podcast last week with Lyndon Lauren. He wrote a book called The Hunter's Health Span. And like as a dad and as a hunter, I want to be. I thought about this. So this is an interesting, like, random tangent or side. Like, I did a run when I met my wife when we were dating, like up in the UP. Her dad was like, "Hey, there's this run up there. You should do it." I was like, "Okay, I'll school this old guy, like my future father-in-law, right? He's old. I'm young. I can handle this. Like, I'm pretty motivated." He beat me by like a lot, and he's old. Like, he's not that old. I'm trying not to be an asshole because anyway, he might listen or hear about it. But like I he has 3 kids, 4 kids that have like already gone through like college and are done. And my kids are at the beginning of they're not even in school yet. They're in like kindergarten and less than that. So I'm kind of thinking now, like, gosh, I hope that by the time my youngest graduates college, I could go on a run with him, like,
Yeah.
and not be a total like schlump. And I hope that if my kids get into hunting and I can take them on an elk hunt or vice versa, that I can do it. And so for me, it's like working out is not this rah rah moto, like, yeah, like I'm a huge, like, I just want to be the tortoise that like shows up every day. And by the end of it all, like, I'm still pretty good in my like life. I can do it. That's where I'm at now versus like 10 years ago. I was like, no, I'm going to rule the world. I'm going to beat everybody. I'm going to be the baddest. Like I'm going to beat the old guys in the run and da 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 whatever. And now I'm just like, no, I just want to be able to do this every day. So that way I have the outcome of being able to drag deer, go on runs with my kids, like go on elk hunts, hike mountains, whatever it is. Um, that to me seems really gratifying over the course of a lifetime.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Oh,
I'll
absolutely. And I mean, I would say too, to add in, the main reason why I work out is for mental health purposes. Like
a big one.
it's my vice. I don't have really any other addictions, and I get really overwhelmed sometimes because I have like raging ADHD and I get distracted, and then I gotta make all this content, and I get overwhelmed. And then when I just go on a run, it's like everything is just quiet. And I honestly get my best ideas when I'm working out because I'm so focused on like the pain of my muscles that my mind's able to like be quiet and just I come up with good ideas. So it helps a lot in that area.
Yeah, it does help. Having, whether it's working out, lifting, you don't care if you're doing yoga, like walking is probably the best thing. If you can't do anything, you can always go for a walk, probably, right? And so I think, like, if nothing else, you can go for a walk. Walking never made anything worse. Like, if you got a problem, you're trying to think, you're stressed, like, go for a walk. It's not going to make anything worse.
No.
But anything you do on top of that, like add stuff as you get going. The days that I run, lift, walk, work out, whatever, are significantly better mentally. I don't care about the physical part. I do a little bit, but like the mental part is such a
Yeah.
reward that like it overcomes any of the other stuff. Like I'm not doing this I'm not gonna get a six pack anymore. I'm 37. I got 3 kids.
I know,
I
right?
love beer and bourbon, and like Tony Cordeo just said, work hard now for the hunting snacks later. Like I love a good plate of nachos. So
Right.
I'll do it to afford the calories. Like totally. That's a great for me at least. That's great. And a lot of guys are like super fit. Like I know I see we talk about like latitude. I see Corey Goodar and Jake Bush. Just dude, Jake Bush is like running 10 miles at 7 minutes per mile. I'm like,
I
dude,
cannot.
I would I couldn't do it. There's no way. When I was 20, I could run, or 18, whatever I was, I could do 3 miles in 20 minutes, but that was like killing myself to get that number.
Yeah.
I can't touch those numbers anymore. And maybe if I worked at it really, really hard, I could, but like, I just am not that interested in being that physically fit. But it does make me feel very competitive. Like I see him doing that. I'm like, F that guy. I'm going to go hard today. And then I'm like 1.2 miles in. I'm like, it took me 9 minutes. I'm like, well, I guess that's shot.
Oh, if I'm running like 5 or 6 miles, I'm completely okay with doing 10-minute like miles. Like I'm like, you know what? I'm out here freaking going for an entire hour, barely without stopping. Like I'm like, I don't care if it takes me 10 minutes or if I get it in 9 minutes. I mean, that's cool too. I mean, I time it just to see if I'm making progress, but some days are better than others. Some days you're going to run better. And some days you're going to run.
Yeah. Who knows why? I'm sure
Yeah.
there's a lot of like dietary reasons, sleep reasons, so for like weather conditions, air quality, all that stuff adds up. But yeah,
Again, for the mental health. So
yeah. No, that's good. Goals for this season? Do you have any hunting goals? I don't even ask me mine. But
currently I'm obsessing over trying to complete my first out of state hunt. So I'm doing a bunch of research about hunting in Kentucky. It's only a 2-hour drive to the border for me. And I've been watching a bunch of videos on like how to run and gun on public land. I'd really like to get a buck and velvet, but I know that's only for the first couple of weeks of season opener. They open September 2nd, and Ohio doesn't even open till like the 26th or 27th, somewhere around there. So, I mean, I get like a full 3.5 weeks of hunting in Kentucky, and that would be really cool to get one in velvet. If I do, I do. If not, I have my tags paid for to hunt there for all of deer and turkey season. So
that's cool. When does it open? That's got to be real soon, right?
September 2nd.
Yeah, that's like, okay, you might have said that. I just didn't catch it.
Not this weekend, next weekend, next Saturday.
Are you going out right away?
Yeah, so I thought I might end up going this weekend to do some scouting and check out the areas and make sure I have places to go, because I've never traveled out of state to hunt before other than with my dad when I was a kid, and I feel like that doesn't really count. So this will be my first true attempt at doing it, and I'm doing it by myself. So there's a lot of logistics that go into that. I'm planning on like camping and just
It's a totally different ballgame. That's gonna feel really cool.
It's gonna feel really cool, and I'm gonna be pretty stressed about it because I mean I'm self-filming, so then I'm like, how do I keep my batteries alive? I gotta think about like food, water, shelter, filming, and do I even care about scent control? Can I care about scent control at that point? Like, there's a lot of things that go into it. So I've been looking up like campgrounds with the cheapest rates and how close they are to the public land that I want to hunt. And I've been doing a lot of scouting with on X, just virtual. And I might go down this weekend and check out some spots and do some glassing. I'm hoping to find some public land up near some open areas and bean fields, and we'll see what happens.
No,
So,
that's cool. Go get like an ozonics unit or some sort of like
oh yeah, for sure. Like,
ozone generating whatever. Dry wash your stuff. That might help a little bit. Here's a fun food hack that I did years ago. I went to the Boundary Waters. There's this dude. I think he's on YouTube. I'm pretty sure you can still find the videos. I think he was called like Yankee Prepper. And there's another dude called like, what the hell is he called? Babelfish 5. I don't know how I'm remembering this. This is a long time ago. But I think Babelfish 5 had like these recipes that you could just go cook whatever the hell you're going to cook. Like I cooked venison chili, venison stroganoff, venison stew, and venison spaghetti. I cooked all those meals on all 4 burners at like the same time. I just went ham during a day, cooked 4 venison meals, and then I took those meals and your oven is a dehydrator. You don't need to get a dehydrator.
you don't need to like freeze them or
No, so listen. So you take the food, you put on a cookie sheet on like parchment paper or whatever, wax paper, spread it out really thin, as thin as you can, throw it in the oven for like 10 hours on the lowest possible setting. It'll come out looking burnt and terrible. And then you vacuum seal that with the parchment paper. And your parchment paper is important because that's your fire starter. You can use that for fire starter as an extra bonus.
oh.
And then you just pour that in like a canister, pour a little bit of water in there, boil it up, and it comes out, I am shitting you not, like it came out of the freaking kettle you cooked it in. It was incredible. So we had 4 meals like that in the Boundary Waters. Our dumbasses didn't test it. We just like were like, oh, let's just trust it. But it worked out okay. Like it was fine.
Right.
I would say do a test run. Like cook some meal, do 1 serving, try it out, dehydrate it. Everybody has a dehydrator in their house. It's your oven. You can dehydrate any food in there. And yeah, then you just reheat it in water with boiling water. It comes back to life. Like it was unbelievable. We ate like kings in the Boundary Waters because of that.
Wow.
And you got all the expensive freeze-dried shit from REI or Cabela's or whatever. It was like super affordable because we were cheap. I didn't have any money. We were like college kids.
I'm talking to a company right now. They're called On Point Food Adventures. It's like a husband and wife team, and they cook everything in their own kitchen. And they sent me some stuff to try, so I'm actually hoping to try it while I'm camping because it's all like freeze dried stuff. But they make like freeze dried cheesecake and Skittles.
Yeah, what's it called?
On Point Food Adventures.
Sweet, yeah. Stock up on that. Go buy some. Like I don't know. Me and my one buddy, like we got. I think he had a bunch of MREs left over, which I think had gone bad. He brought them to deer camp last year. I was like, "Fuck,
do they go bad?"
Yeah, they go bad. The shit expired. I was like, dude, these are from 2004. Like, we can't eat these. We tried. I was like, I think I'm gonna get sick. I was so excited to eat an MRE, like, because you can heat stuff. The heating component didn't work anymore. Like, it was all trash. I think I still have in my hunting backpack right now. It was not. Yeah, I'm gonna give him shit for that. But no, like doing the dehydrating your own food is cool because if you have a favorite meal, just go cook it and then dehydrate it, vacuum seal it, and you're all set. Like it was crazy how effective that was. Anyway, so the camping thing in early season is cool. Getting a buck and velvet sounds awesome, except for like bugs and heat. Like it can still be really, really hot, and that I hope you have like a really big, good cooler. Like we got the meat lug on. They're repping from Half Rack. That thing's huge. It can fit a full bag of ice and a full quartered up, deboned large doe. So,
oh nice.
It's been tested. Someone flew with meat in the bag. I didn't know that was like legal. Like I feel like TSA would have a problem with like just carting around fucking meat.
Yeah,
but
it's a bit cold.
Like, how do they know you didn't murder someone? I don't know. It's kind of weird. I mean, technically you did, but yeah. Otherwise, like whatever. There's all these good coolers out there now, but making sure that you get that stuff on ice quickly is going to be critically important in a heat situation or hot day.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I haven't gotten that far into my logistics of planning yet, but it's definitely gonna happen.
I'm sorry, and you're welcome.
Huh?
I'm sorry, and you're welcome.
I know. I started planning this out, and I'm like, oh shoot! Like I need a notebook. Like I just need to start writing everything down So I did, and my list just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And every time I wrote something down, it created like 3 more problems. And I'm like, oh, like I wish I could go down there with somebody. I just, either anybody who'd want to go with me or could go with me lives too far away or has a job that they can't just dip out and leave. Like I literally just quit 2 jobs last week so that I could do this more this season. So like I'm really excited.
What's the job situation? So like you had 2 jobs and now do you have no jobs? Like how are you
I had like 4, so I quit 2, so now I have 2
what were
left.
you doing with what are the 4 jobs? What is your like
So I'm a nail tech. I'm a nail tech. I was a nanny 24 hours a week, and then I bartended on the weekends. So I quit the nanny job and the bartending job. So now I essentially just do nails, and then I create content. I'm counting that as a job because I do make income from it, and I'm trying to make that full time. So I was full time nail tech, but cut that down. And then I'm one of those people that just likes to work a lot, and I want more money so I can spend more on hunting stuff. So
yeah, that's good. Are you in like the TikTok creator marketplace? Is that working out for you? Are you doing more with like the TikTok product marketplace? Do you then?
I've never even tried it.
Well, shit, you should do it. You should probably.
I don't. What would I
So, like,
sell?
to TikTok creator marketplace, and this is gonna get nerdy, and everyone that listens to be like, oh god, Eric, here goes Eric down the marketing path again. But like, if you join the TikTok creator marketplace with your following, any brand searching the TikTok creator marketplace for creators is going to find you under like a hunt category. And so they may be like, hey, we have this, saddle, we have this, like pick a site or a rangefinder or whatever.
Oh, I think what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's how we engage initially too. I think I reach out to you as like, hey,
Yeah. You guys found me on Marketplace one time.
But doing it through the marketplace is like, I've noticed it's challenging. So I just like to test stuff out. So like, oh, let's see how this works. And so some people, we did soup to nut marketplace, like payment, video, all of it happened through that portal. Other people I just found in contact. We did like some side pot bet deal, like I'll give you PayPal money or I'll buy you a case of beer, whatever it was. Because some people are like, dude, I don't want your money. I just love your shit. Like, we're happy to rep it. I was like, oh, well, in that case, what do you want? Like, what kind of beer? Like, at least let me buy you a beer, Right. Some people we pay through the marketplace. What the challenge is like TikTok says it'll audit the video to comply with their standards.
Yeah.
And you think that would be in a sandbox environment, meaning like you could detonate or submit that video and like not have any repercussions because it's like vetting the video for you. However, if you submit it and it doesn't meet their criteria, you actually get a strike against you. So then it freaked me out because like, whoa. We're in this like safe place and you're telling me that if a creator submits a video and it doesn't meet your criteria, you're going to dock them and potentially ban their channel. So then I was like, we got to pump the brakes here because my goal in this is not to try to get you banned off the freaking app because you do really well here. So that was really a unique learning. Like, you need to really understand the TikTok guidelines and terms and conditions so you don't mess up the thing that could potentially be making a living for you if you have 100,000 plus followers. But there's brands that need content. Like, brands need content more than you could possibly imagine. The biggest brands have the smallest marketing teams. They need the most content, and like, it's hard to come by.
Yeah, it is. And people don't want to watch commercials anymore.
No, and this is the TikTok stuff is like very authentic. Like it's real. It's real stuff. It's a real person that's like going to give an honest review. There's a number of people that give pretty good reviews about like authentic. Like, we did a review on the Latitude sticks. We're pretty damn authentic about it. Like, we weren't trying to like say like we work with them, but I was also like, well, yeah, that's true. However, our like reputation is currency. Like, our credibility as a the brand also is at stake. So if we just like said these are the best things in the world and we're like, we hate these things, like, that wouldn't work. No. So we did a pretty strenuous test on them. We hung them in a scenario that was not favorable intentionally to see how well they would hold up. And if you watch the video on YouTube, like, this thing is like hanging off the tree by like a couple inches. It's not even on the freaking tree. And it didn't let go of its bite. And I was like, well, shit, that's pretty impressive. Wow. So I was like, yeah, they're legit. So like, whatever, like, there's things like that too, that brands are like, they can't control the narrative. They need to let you do your thing. Otherwise, it won't be authentic, and your audience will pick up on the bullshit a mile away. I don't
Yeah.
see the TikTok stuff. I don't know what people are saying.
Especially if you sound like a little too scripted, or if you're just like, this is amazing and I love it, and you're using those same phrases over and over, but then you don't get into the nerdy, gritty details as to why, or you don't show evidence to back up your claim, then it can crumble, and then your reputation or your opinion will quickly be worthless.
Yep. Yeah. Look, so lacrosse boots, we're working with them on a new boot called the Ursa boot. But it's new. Like, no one has really experienced this boot yet. So I was like, well, how are we going to do this? Like, I can't put my stamp of approval on a new product if I've not used it. So I was like, well, okay, we'll do it very authentically. We will talk about it as we use it. And we'll just be very candid about it. Candidly, you're going to need some time to break those puppies in. Just like any boot. Like, they will be like very rigid and stiff on your feet. You need to break. I would recommend like doing some rucks with those boots before you wear them into the Whitetail Woods, so you get rid of like all the blister problems that you might have. But they're waterproof, they're tough, they're rugged, they're actually pretty damn comfortable. But we're like teasing that out as we go, versus saying these boots are amazing, they'll last forever. Like, how the hell do we know? We've never used them for a season, On the other hand, gum leaf boots, we worked with them like 4 years ago. I still have the pair. They're amazing. They're like natural rubber, which isn't a thing in the market anymore, apparently, because everyone uses like PVC, so they break down really quick. They dry rot. And our gum leaf boots do not dry rot. They're still good to go. They've been punctured, and they're so dense that they like fill the puncture, so they don't actually leak. And they're super comfortable. But they're not paying me to say that. That's just the truth. And like, I love the truth. That's where like I think it's important to be transparent about things like that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. You don't want, what's the point of having an audience if you're, not going to be truthful about your opinion?
I think the TV world was that way, and I think that's why it's gone on the days of the dinosaur. Like, people know.
Yeah.
People know, oh, and this is how I killed this buck with this scent product right here. If you're not using blah, blah scent product,
you can't kill a big deer.
Okay. Well, I also don't watch TV because I cut the cable like 10 years ago. It's a different world these days. So yeah, whatever. It's I think the industry is, and the community has picked up on what the industry has done.
Yeah.
Where we're at in this conversation, I apologize if I've totally derailed us. But,
You're good.
I'm apologizing to our guests. Thanks. No, thanks for hanging out. Like, this is good stuff. I know you're in Ohio, so it's a little later year end. I don't know, where do people find you on social, like, that want to follow along with your journey as you continue to level up and like go forth with more video, more hunting, more learnings, and all that jazz?
I try to keep it simple, so just my name, Katelyn Armstrong, and it's the same across all platforms.
Nice. It's a unique enough name that'll work out for you well.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. Especially if you throw like the word hunting in there, you'll find me real quick.
Well, I think, one of the cool things I liked about you when I saw your stuff, and we love, like, we have another podcast that just hit our network, the Onset Podcast with Elizabeth Brownell. She was on here recently.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm actually going to be doing a podcast with her probably next week.
Oh, well, that's fantastic. Good. So you're doubling up here on the OKS network. But
yes,
so hunting is small. Bow hunting is really small. Female hunters is tiny.
Oh,
like
minuscule.
When you zoom in on the community or the industry or whatever you want to call it, and there's a number of like female huntresses that give female hunting a really bad rap. They're holding bows upside down. They're bikinis. They're doing dumb shit. They're like promoting products, all for sake of getting in front of the feet of the male, like, whatever, hunter. And I think the good people in the hunting industry really know what's going on and appreciate things. So you were one of the female hunters that has a really good demeanor, good head on her shoulders, that's putting out a great message and good quality content. So like, you're not for love or likes, whatever the hell that shit is. I don't know if you know what that is or not. I've seen it before, but it seems like it's very huntress, very like for love or likes. Let's think about that for a second. Like, that's very different than how do you hunt out of a saddle, right? That's, there's no meat on the bone there. And I'm being very candid.
It's definitely a stereotype, that's for sure. And I do try to break that mold because I kind of tell people that like, we'll think about it this way: that I want to be in the hunting industry. I want to work in the hunting industry. I want brands to take me seriously. And what do brands want? They want to sell things. And who are they selling things to? Hunters. And why do hunters buy things from brands? Because it is going to help them either be better, perform better, what have you, but it's going to improve their hunting in some way, shape, or form. And people take it very seriously. Now, you can have a hot girl selling beer and have it sell millions because nobody cares. Nobody cares. Like, it's just beer. You're going to buy it from a hot chick or a girl wearing a bikini. But when it comes to buying a saddle and changing your mind about hunting a tree stand, which guys have been hunting out of tree stands forever, changing somebody's mind on that and trying to bring something new into the platform, if you're not educational or haven't experienced it yourself, like, nobody would think twice to talk to me about purchasing a saddle. And I'm just using that as an example because that's just what I do on TikTok. But nobody would think twice to talk to me about purchasing a saddle if I was doing things, like shooting my bow in a bikini every time, or, like you mentioned, the typical female hunter stereotype. And I really want my content to be educational based because that's how I learned how to hunt. I learned how to hunt from the internet. So I want to give back and show other people and kind of fill in the gaps where I feel like if I Google a question and things aren't popping up, once I figure it out, then I want to make a video to fill in that gap.
Mhm.
So I really like education. I don't like gatekeeping. I like sharing things with people. And so, yeah, like, I guess because I'm so education focused, you have to be that way if you want to work with companies and brands in the hunting industry, you know?
Yeah, that's a great point. Your demeanor, your perspective is really, and you're centered around the right thing. Um, Hunters know their stuff and they can sense that stuff. And the people that actually give a shit and want to actually make a purchase or like, learn something new, like they'll pay attention to what you have to say as long as there's like real, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, there's real meat behind what you're saying and not just like, oh, look at me, I'm going to tout this thing. Like, we know what the brands, that's a shortcut and it doesn't work. So, like,
Yeah.
oh, great, you got 1 million views. Well, yeah, they're perverted views. And like, that's not going to lead to anything significant or meaningful. So,
Well, you're
uh,
not going to sell anything that way either. If you look at the comments under those millions of views videos, it's all like heart emojis or comments about how the female looks. Whereas you look underneath my videos that have 1 million views, you see, I mean, you get those sprinkled in, regardless of what I'm wearing, you get those sprinkled in.
yeah.
But the majority of my comments and stuff are like questions, or how do you do this, or where can I buy that? Or, they want more. They want more educational content, which I think is cool.
No, but like, so I have my oldest is my daughter. She's going to be 6, Logan. And when she watches movies, like she really loves the female characters. Like the Emoji Movie, there's a princess that goes rogue, right? And she's not what's Wreck-It Ralph breaks the internet. There's the princess who's not like all the other princesses. Like my daughter loves these. She loves to see herself in these characters that break the mold. Sure, she loved the princesses, but she really loves these like defiant characters. And she'll talk to me about it. Like, Dad, I really liked seeing that girl that like wasn't like all the other girls, but was doing really cool things, and she can see herself in that. I think it's important for like women that are interested in hunting to see another female that's doing hunting things that's not being a D-bag about it, for lack of a better term, or some diva. And it's like, oh, well, this girl's like pretty legit. She's actually hunting for real and doing cool stuff. Therefore, I could do that. I can see myself doing that. Like I think it's important to have that representation for people to identify with that are not, like there's a lot of chauvinistic it's a male dominated industry. It just is. Like
It is.
it just is.
Yeah.
It's not good, bad, or indifferent. It's just the reality. Um, but like, I have a daughter and I would love for her to get into hunting and come to deer camp. And whether she chooses to do that or not, it's up to her. I'm not going to force her. If she takes an interest, I'll fan the flames. And if not, like whatever. But if she does, I want her to feel like she can be there, you know, because she's a beast. Like my daughter will give anyone a run for her money. She's the most independent human I've ever met in my life. Super stubborn, like, and she's very quick witted. So like, I'm sure she'd give all my buddies a run for their money and anything they're gonna throw at her. Like,
I'm sure she'll make it.
yeah. So I think it's important for when she's 14 and you're still around and she sees you, that she sees someone respectable that is putting out good stuff, or Elizabeth is putting out good stuff and so forth. Like, it's something that's pretty important to me, actually. So I think it's pretty cool. Thank you for taking time out of your evening, albeit I totally dropped the ball on like being on time. I won't blame my kids, but I'll just say like it's their fault. That okay. Calder said, my only child is 3. I'll just put on the screen here. Calder said, my only child is a 3-year-old girl, and I really want female role models in the hunting industry for her to look up to and who aren't using their body for attention. Precisely. Like, thank you. That's a good summation. Like, that's it.
Yeah, somebody on our live too, I just happened to notice a comment and they said, way more respect for the way you carry yourself. Somebody I can actually let my daughter watch. And, I just started getting a lot more parents reaching out to me with comments like that in my DMs and in person. I mentioned earlier that I've been doing some conventions, and at these conventions, I'm getting to meet some of my, for lack of a better word, fans, and people who love my content. And I've had a bunch of like kids come up to me and, give me a hug and ask to take my picture. And then their parents in, the background are telling me like, thank you for making content that is appropriate for my kids to watch and somebody that they can look up to in the hunting industry, because there's really few females, like that. And I guess I'm just starting to see like the full circle and, what it's all about. And I'm really appreciative of those moments. They're literally the best.
Yeah, it's pretty cool because like, I listen to girls that hunt on other podcasts. A lot of times the questions are like, so what's it like being a female in the hunting industry? Why is that the question? What, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I've used this example before. I forget her name that was on our show, but she's a writer. She's a hell of a cook. And she's like, you know what grinds my gears is that question. And she's like, you want to know the funniest thing that happened to me as a girl being in hunting is like, I have to frickin' pee. And all the guys can jump in the car and whip it out and go in the ditch. And here I am, I got to squat. And I got to take everything off to do that. And she's like, that's probably the biggest, like, that's the only big difference. Beyond that, it's all the same.
Just if you're talking just hunting, absolutely. Just hunting, it's all the same. If you're talking industry, that's
for sure.
Yeah. Industry is different. If you're just talking hunting, we're the same. We're equal, other than strength and going to the bathroom. We're equal. But
you working out as much as working out, like strength is debatable. Like a lot of guys got deer guts and like they'd be hooping. I think I would trust you to carry out my deer faster than half my buddies.
You just have to see.
There's a good competition right there. No, it's all in good fun though too. Like I think the representation that's starting to come into the fold from the people that like certain people pay attention and we look at social, we see what's going on and we know what's legit and what is, the fake bullshit. And you're not that. So that's all. That's one of the reasons why you're on the show. If you weren't, you wouldn't be on the show because there's no chance in hell I'm talking to one of those people. It'd be a 2-minute conversation. I'd be like, well, that was a good live show. And it's done.
Yeah. And I'm surprised you mentioned like the girl you're talking to said she gets really frustrated with that comment about, what's it like to be a female hunter. For the most part, I feel like most people that talk to me ask me real legitimate questions, and they're not, for the most part, they're not female based specifically. I don't mind getting female based questions as long as it's not questions that's like, what are you going to do with your hair during hunting season? Because I've gotten some of those questions before and it's just like really degrading.
I'd ask, what would you do with your hair for hunting season from a scent control perspective? Like, because I'm bald. I have no problem.
Right.
Hair carries scent. You got a lot of it. Like, that's a different concern. But I think her frustration came from the fact that that's like a common question from multiple people. And it wasn't beyond that. Like they weren't seeing her beyond what's it like that? Like they weren't treating her as an equal, because that's the only question they were asking over and over and over again. That's the point, I think.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I mean, I do get comments like that as far as like not being treated like an equal, and it just depends on like what stereotype or category you're talking to. Like, I think there's definitely a certain types of people that you talk to in the industry that are going to see me as a certain way, whether or not just because they're not going to take the time to talk to me and figure out what I'm about. They're just gonna they basically just look at me as like just another pretty face, or I don't know. It's frustrating. But to answer your question about the hair thing, without me getting off track, to answer your question about the hair thing,
you're gonna shave it before you go to Kansas.
Yeah, you're never gonna be completely scent free, like ever. I try my best just to not leave scent in the woods by using like rubber boots and tucking my pants into my boots and stuff like that. I wash my hair with shampoo, and they make scent-free conditioner, scent-free shampoo. Yep. So I just do that. And
you're not using like your fancy, I don't even know the shampoo and conditioner my wife likes to shower, but it's not like, I literally have no hair. So like it's a zero for me. But I know you're not using that, the week leading up to your hunt. Like,
no, you're not. And they make a lot of better stuff now than they did when I was a kid. I mean, when I was a teenager hunting with my dad, it was absolute misery using his shampoo. It was just like this green stuff from Walmart. It was like the green stuff. Huh?
Yeah, the green stuff is like a staple. It's like a core memory.
Actually. It's horrendous. It dries your skin out. It makes you like. I remember trying to like rip a brush through my hair, and it was just like a matted mess because I always use conditioner, and that thing made your hair feel like.
But he was probably really excited that you were using them. He was probably like, "Oh yeah, she uses the scent control. She's legit."
Yeah. Well, they make conditioner now, so apparently there is enough of a.
Here's a company idea for you: go create hair care products that are on caliber as the best shit in the hair care industry that are completely scent free, so women can wash their hair and it doesn't get damaged.
Yeah, and I think there's this one company, Southern Racks. They do a really good job with their line of like scentless, huntless products. And I was using them for a long time because not only do they do shampoo, conditioner, but they also do lotion and dry shampoo, and it's all for hunting.
That's cool.
Yeah, and let me tell you, like sometimes when you're hunting and it's like 15 degrees outside, I'm really thankful for that lotion.
Yeah, well, like I have to brush my daughter's hair sometimes, and I like if we've not like shampooed and conditioned her hair, like it doesn't go well. Okay,
no, it doesn't. It's completely different. It's horrible.
She's mad. It's like drama, and I'm like, damn,
it's drama. She's pain. She's in pain, but it's drama.
Yeah, she's like, Dad, you're hurting my hair. I'm like, God, just it's gonna hurt a little bit. I don't know what to tell you. Like, we got to brush your hair. Okay, we got to get the knots out.
Yeah.
But like, if she uses really good conditioner, it's smooth, it's silky, it's beautiful. There's no pain, there's no drama. It's a great experience for everybody. And so, like, I could just envision the world where she goes hunting, I give her some shit hair product, then we're back to square one again. Like,
oh yeah, yeah. And like, there were days where I remember as a teenager, I would just tell my dad, like, I'm not washing my hair. I washed it yesterday. I'm not getting up an hour earlier than you are to go hunt just because I'm a girl and I have to wash my hair. Just deal with it. Like, spray my hair. Like, I'm not doing it. Yeah, but I mean, I'd washed it in the scentless stuff the day before, and I just wasn't going to wash it in the scentless stuff again,
But like, there's like dirt scent, there's pine scent, there's corn scent, there's all these like hunter scents that exist from like you can use drier, sheets that smell like dirt. Like I'm not kidding. Like if you developed or you found a way to develop a hair care product that was like, no, this is dirt scent conditioner, but at a high grade.
Yeah.
I mean, they can make it smell like freaking roses. You tell me you can't make it smell like dirt? I bet you could.
Yep.
There you go. Yeah. You want to find love in the deer woods, or maybe not, or in the bar. Like, how about bacon? Let's
get all those girls that are like, they go nuts during fall season. Like the typical like, oh, white girl, Starbucks pumpkin drink.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
Like make like a shampoo that's like autumn floor scent for hunting.
There it is. And that's gotta be like, how is that not a thing? That's gotta be someone's working on it somewhere. I
Because
promise.
it is a very small, minuscule selling point. Like, do you know how many of us there are?
But
Not very
there's guys that have long hair. Like some dudes still want to rock out like their heavy metal jamming days where they're head banging. Like what are they gonna do? It's not just women. Some dudes, like, I'm not one of those dudes because I'm bald as shit. But like, it's a thing. My buddy
There's
Mike,
that one guy, I think
he's got luscious locks. Like he's got long hair. He's very proud of it right now.
who?
My buddy that comes gun hunting with us, he's like got very long hair and he's very proud of it. He's like, dude, people have told me I look like Aaron Rodgers. I'm not cutting it off. I'm like, well, Aaron Rodgers went to the Jets. I think it's time, pal. Anyway.
Somebody just suggested dough and heat scent. That would be disgusting.
Yeah, you're not trying to live with that on your hair, but the
Somebody
nose
said like
camera
corn
shampoo.
or apple, that would work.
Yeah, apple, pine, corn, dirt.
Yeah.
Those are your scents. Anyway.
Apple or pine would be good.
Yeah, cool. Katelyn, thanks for being on the show. I'm going to end the live broadcast. We're going to bring the plane in for a landing. Zach from THP, they exactly called her. He's got super long, luscious locks of hair. And I can say that because I'm very jealous of anybody with hair. Like, what does he do for hair care? Scent control. He's got longer hair than you, Katelyn. Like,
I mean, he's got super curly hair and he just lets it like fly around while he's hunting. And I'm like, I could not do that. I have to have it all back out of the way. There's no way.
I'm going to make a micro clip of this. We're going to tag Zach in that and we're going to ask him what his hair care products are. And you guys can go in on it together.
He's going to say the green stuff.
The green stuff, the core memory right there from our childhood. Like when you smell the green stuff in the shower, you know it's hunting season.
100%.
Oh my God. Well, cool. I'm going to end the live broadcast and hang out for just a second. I'm going to end the TikTok also. And everyone that tuned in, thanks a bunch. This will be live in podcast land tonight and YouTube tomorrow and all that fun stuff. So thank you.